Hi everyone, here is Ivan again with another tutorial. I'm really happy to see your smiling faces here today, even if I don't see any of you either. Today I will share with you how I make an animal portrait tattoo. I will try to focus on some basic rules that I use to observe and find information into the photo reference. Tattooing an animal is one of the most difficult subjects for me, and that's why I've decided to make this episode. So without further explanation, let's move into the tutorial. I will try not to go into the details what is the technical process of making it, as for me much more important and valuable information is you to understand what is behind the tattoo process. What are my thoughts and leading points when I'm making such a tattoo? And then each of you will find his own way of developing this information into your skills and level. Technique comes with the years of practice. There are plenty of videos out there about the technical part of tattooing. For me, it's much more important to share with you the fundamentals of realistic tattooing and not only to teach you how to hold the machine properly. With that being said, I hope you will appreciate this and find the value in all what I make for you. So, let's start again from the very beginning, and this is how I prepare my stencil for such a tattoo. First of all, I try to clearly separate all the details into some basic forms. I don't focus on an individual strands and hairs, but try to search the volumes in the groups. I try to design them in a way that I can understand them after. All the details I will make directly when I'm tattooing, because for me this is the end of each project. Either it is a hair or a face. The details comes always at last. First priority, like always for me, is anatomically well-structured tattoo. It's very important for me when I'm doing a realistic style. If you understand the simple forms behind the hairs, you will achieve always a better and more realistic effect on the end. Like always, I start the tattoo from the darkest parts. Here, this is the nose of the wolf. In this case, also the closest part of the tattoo to the viewer. There I will use mostly my full black, so I will make a very good contrast and the nose will pop up in front of everything else. But this also helps me a lot for something else. Adding first the black point will allow me also to see the highest contrast I can achieve in this particular skin type. This is very important for me because I can compare always my halftones and shadows and easily understand if they are either too dark or too light. Once I have it, I can slowly start and build the area around it, focusing on the values and tones. At the beginning it's very difficult to realize the right tones. That's why you need to start slowly from the places you feel the most comfortable with. As you can see, I don't add any major details in this phase of the process, before I'm sure I have the underground values correctly. Once I'm done with it, I can come back and finish the part with the smaller needle and add some smaller details. For this, I'm using mostly 3 round liner. But with the risk of repeating myself, I will say it again. Adding the single hairs is the last step, not the first. If I don't have good undertone of the object, I can never achieve the deepness and the tattoo will always look flat and plastic. Okay, once we understand how important it is to structure the shadows and the halftones, we can slowly move to the part where I start to add the smaller details. Let's start with the eyes, for example. They are very important for every portrait of an animal. That's why I pay closer attention to them. When I make the eyes, I'm focusing on the correct forms. It is very important for me to catch the right emotions going out of them. Do you ever heard the sentence, "The eyes speak more than 1,000 words"? That's true, And that's why it is one of the most important parts of each portrait for me. The area around the eyes is also extremely important. When you make it correct, you can lead the eyeballs of the viewer to the point where you want them to watch. As you can see, I'm using mostly my round shader in this area. I try to follow the overall direction of the hair and not copying every single strand, even if I'm able to do it. I prefer to design my own hairs. Like this, it will look always individual and special. Really rare I'm using any magnum needle at this phase of the process. I prefer the small liners and the shaders to build a very detailed part. It looks much more natural to me. Adding the texture part is all about designing. There have to be a good balance between simple and detailed areas. It depends what you want to show. If you want to make the focus on the eyes, try to make them and the area around them more detailed than the rest of the tattoo. Like this, you will receive all the focus into the eyes and the tattoo will look very powerful. A good combination between focus and defocus is one of my favorite ways of creating deepness. I use it very often when I make an animal tattoos. Sometimes I don't even tattoo the hairs like single strands, but just like forms. This approach is very important for me. It shows skills and not just the ability to copy a picture one-to-one. Try to understand the rules of drawing and use them in your advantage. This is rule number 1 in painting as well. As far away from the viewer's eyes it goes, as less and less details you start to see. An extreme example of this is if you observe a landscape. You can realize that the closer the mountains or flowers are, the sharper the image is, and the opposite. As further it goes, as less and less you start to recognize the single details. I use exactly the same rule when I'm tattooing. Very often I make the fur of the animal flows into the background and it disappears on the end. This is exactly the effect I'm searching for. It gives an extreme amount of deepness and love how it looks. Remember that the most details always must be in the halftones area. All what is in the shadow or highlights start to lose the texture. On the end, to make the portrait look perfect, I add some white highlights. I put it only in the eyes just to increase the impression and make them look more powerful. I try to not overwork with the whites when I'm doing a gray wash work. I use it only when I think it's necessary and it will help a lot to the end result. The white is a very helpful weapon when you want to show the different textures. That's one more reason why I use it only in the eyes and not in the fur as well. When using white correct, it can change the impression of the complete tattoo. Sometimes less is more when we speak about highlights. So guys, we are again on the end of the tutorial. I hope you enjoyed as always and please feel free to let me know what you think in the comment section below. I try to answer all your questions and I really enjoy reading them. If you appreciate what I'm doing for you, just smash that like button. Like this, you will help the YouTube algorithm and it will show my videos to more people like you. If you're new here, you can also subscribe to my channel and hit the small notification bell next to it. Like this, I will notify you always when I post a new video. And as always, I love you all and I wish you an awesome day. Or night, it depends on which part of the globe you are. Stay safe and if you have any other questions, please let me know.